to, to your personality, like, do you think, and I don't want to, I'm not saying this is racism or anything like that per se, right? But do you think because of the way you are and the way that you're not someone who toes the party line and you're your own person, you speak your mind, you won't play the game as you say. Do you think sometimes it can be like unfairly leveled at you as it's like the sort of surly black man or the angry black man, and it's easier to label that at someone who's black than someone who's white?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, this is I suppose every black athlete's frustration is that we're in a world now of more tools and aids to get to understand people's personalities. You sit with psychologists now, they got you doing Myers-Briggs tests and various tests to understand how you think and how you are as a person, but yet still the stereotypes remain that if you speak your mind, you're angry, right? But look, okay, fair enough. But I think people who know me for years upon years know that I don't walk around angry. If you irritate me, naturally, like anybody else, you'll get angry or irritated. But I think it's too easy. What's the word I'm looking for? It's
stereotype.
Yeah, it's too easy to lob that at someone that because they speak their mind or they're comfortable in who they are. As I'm very proud of my heritage, Caribbean heritage. Interestingly, when I first made my Test debut, Bangladesh, I think it was 2010, and the first question asked of me was not well done, for getting to play for England. I mean, what an amazing story, achievement, the county journeyman, all that stuff. Was how does it feel to be the first black man in 10 years to play for England?
That was the first question.
First question. So not the fact that I'm just a cricketer proudly about to walk out there for my country after, as I said, 12, 13 years of toil, graft, moving counties, leaving home, setbacks, injuries, illnesses to get there. Just first thing, how does it feel to be the first black man to represent England since Tudor? So that struck a chord with me. That, okay, so I'm still seen as an outsider then. If I came from South Africa or down the road in North London, would they make an issue of my colour of my skin? That to me always struck a chord. You never felt like you're part of it. It was always, you're a black guy, innit? Yeah, I'm aware of that. Which disappointed me a little bit, but I guess I've always been acutely aware that more than most players, spotlight is always on me, but it's also the thing that fueled me as well. When you look at how long I played for, you learn to cope, you learn to use it to propel you. I didn't see my colour as a negative. I actually very proud because the way I played was a blend of both cultures. I'm as English as can be, born London like you, and obviously I have my Caribbean heritage, which had a massive influence on why I took up the game. Watching that great West Indies of the sort of mid '80s, late '80s, going into the '90s, the emergence of someone like Brian Lara, just as cricket really started to take off for me. Brilliant left-handed batsman. Myself, left-handed batsman, so I had someone to sort of aspire to. Join the county game at 17, 18, playing county cricket, second 11. There was still one or two guys around, likes of Adrian Rollins, Robert Rollins, Lesroy Weeks, Carl Greenwich, guys around that. Again, we were still a small community of players then, but there were guys that had been there before you and could kind of, if you like, show you the ropes, take you under their wing a little bit and just advise you and guide you. And then obviously when they go, you're a bit more fully fledged.
Yeah. But there isn't that really anymore, isn't there? There aren't really the numbers now, are there, that there used to be? I mean, you would have become one of those guys, right? Like, back end of your career. But it does. It's a well documented thing, isn't it? That there seem to be less black English cricketers, right? I mean, I'm sound like the guy asking you the question now again.
I'm the last living one.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah. But it's interesting, isn't it? How I mean, do you have your own thoughts as to why it's kind of dropped off? Because me and you the same age, and we would play club cricket as, say, young teenagers.
Yeah.
And I always remember when I broke into the Hampstead Cricket Club first team, Gary Headley was captain, Bajan guy, and I reckon we had 5 or 6 Caribbean players, English Caribbean players in the side. And then it's just slowly sort of whittled away, and I don't think there'd be any now, to be honest with you. And you play against lots of clubs, which would be all, not just in London as well. Like, there was a team in Nottingham.
Yeah, Cavaliers.
Yeah, Cavaliers, right?
Cavaliers, yeah.
And there'd be quite a few clubs around the country, which would just be
Bristol Cavaliers
heavily English Caribbean. I don't know. I don't know whether they're around anymore. I mean, what would you put your finger on?
I think it's a broad mix of issues. I think one, our generation, I think we're probably our parents were that last generation of people that were, cricket tragics, loved the game, there was, and hence we got involved and we played, and they were sort of happy to bring us to, there was a real community sort of feel to it. I think sadly now that era's kind of dying out, and youngsters now, there's more things that take their attention now. I think social media, you can sit in your bedroom now and make videos and music videos of yourself and make a couple of million quid just from your bedroom. So why on earth would you want to stand in the Oval in front of 6 people on a cold, wet April afternoon? But I suppose also, even in our time, in the professional game, so to speak, like, there's still the numbers in relation to the amount of cricketers, right? So let's say 100,000 people play cricket in this country, roughly. I would say 700 of them ish go on and be professional, right? So you can see it's not a high number of people that go through. And then of that 700, I would say it's probably less than 1%, even 0.5% of those guys that would be black guys coming through. And a lot of those wouldn't really be black British born. They would have come from, Jamaica, Anguilla, Barbados,
moved over when they're a bit older.
Very different, various different islands. So the numbers of black British kids coming through still in those days wasn't high. Again, you're always fighting for affection from football. I think the Premier League had something to do with it. The launch of the Premier League, where, again, if you're a talented young footballer, you can make the kind of money you could be making. It's going to be obviously a lot more appealing to the money you were making in cricket at that time. So I think that's had an effect. And also, look, let's not get away. It's not an elephant in the room. I think if you hear enough bad reputation, bad vibes about things that have come out about the sport, certainly in recent times, and you and I have spoken over many times about certain things as well. This is not a new thing. This has been going on for way before our time.
So what do you think? You think cricket has a bad reputation for discrimination, like racism, compared to other sports?
I think it has a reputation, yeah. Right. I don't think necessarily better or worse. I think, I'm not playing other sports. I can only talk from my sport, but I think the sad thing is these issues have never been addressed. There's been a lot of findings. It tends to be the way now. Yeah. Oh, we found you to be racist. We found you to be systemically racist. Okay, great. So what's the next move? And then we're all left like, oh, okay. And business resumes as normal. And that's the disappointment is, yes, there's findings, but no one's moved on it. And
do you think a lot of these like committees they set up and reports that they do, and then findings, as you say, a lot of them are just box ticking exercises. And then it's like, well, we want to be seen to be addressing it without actually really doing anything concrete.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's purely to tick a box. The nature of most big companies now, you do more by doing nothing. You know, they have the capacity to, if you like, close ranks, move people sideways. You're not dealing with the actual problem. If you look through history, where a lot of black guys were coming through in terms of cricket, you look at certain programs that were set up, like the Haringey Cricket College was one that produced a lot of county, England greats. That was left to rot. They've tried various different ones, Lambeth Cricket, they've tried Chance of Shite. There's been loads of different programs that have never really ever got off the ground. And the other thing as well, Floyd, to remember is who's holding cricket accountable. Now, having gone through a bitter end to my own career, I mean, you learn about the governance of the game, because I think it starts there. It's very much, I went along thinking, the ECB runs the game. But then you actually work out that the counties are the ECB, pretty much, right? It's the 18, major counties and a few minor counties thrown in there as well, where you have, I suppose, essentially 18 separate businesses running themselves. So they're all marking their own homework. So what in all these reports and findings, which is great, don't get me wrong, and you as a black man, you feel as though for a slight moment there, okay, this is finally the time now we're going to start to see progress. Who's holding, where's the accountability metrics? So setting, coming out with a 12-point plan of, we're going to do this, we're going to do this and do that. Okay, great. So when it hasn't happened, who's able to tap on the shoulder and say, hey,
you said you
committed to this.
Yeah.
And it hadn't been done. Because what's happened now? Business as normal, isn't it? So it's got to, I've always believed with racism, one, it's not my problem to fix. It's not a black man's problem to fix. Right? And second of all, it's got to cost people dearly to change. Sad as that may seem, as that might seem, it's got to cost people to change. So if it costs...
What do you mean by that?
Financially. Unilaterally, that's the only thing companies care about now, right? It's got to... Let's say, for example, if it cost the ECB 50 grand a day, something would have been done. Something would have been set up, and it would have had all the metrics needed. So we look at how we've done over 6 months, over 12 months, what's our 5-year projection, all these things, all the things that need to be done. So it's a proper job.
This is something that me and Azim sort of argue about a little bit. Not argue, but debate. And, we had the great Michael Holding on about a year ago. Managed to get hold of him out in his bunker out in Cayman. And we had a really good chat about him. And we just went over, all of the George Floyd stuff and his speech on Sky and all that. And, his point of view is, look, cricket doesn't have a racism problem. Society does, right? He's like, look, cricket does have a problem, but it's because society has a problem.
Yeah.
And Azim doesn't really agree with that. He's like, no, I think cricket's got more of a problem and needs to admit it's got a problem. Whereas I kind of take the Mikey angle. I think that cricket's not going to be sorted out unless you sort society out.
Absolutely.
Right? Isn't cricket just a reflection of society?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sports reflect society.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you can say, look, these things are happening in cricket. It's our responsibility. We can't worry about what's going on in football or what's going on in this country. We need to fix what's going on here. So I kind of see both sides of the argument.
But I feel, sport can be a driver for a lot of things, because it's the one thing that can unite lots of people from different, it can be seen as a bellwether. If you're seeing, say, cricket doing the right things and being inclusive and as I say, holding themselves to account, then your hope, and that's all you can really hope for. That's all you can really do. I'm not sort of living in the clouds here. All you can go on is hope that others will follow. As I've always believed, and I've said this on other shows before, you've got to make racists feel hard to be included. If you flip that around, and that's where I think you can make the biggest dent in things. I'm not saying you're not going to get rid of it, and I think that's the important thing to say to black people and people of color. And don't walk around head in the clouds thinking that, oh, we'll set this thing up and it's all done. You're never going to get rid of it, but when it happens, there's got to be something in place to be able to hold the relevant people accountable, but hold the sport accountable. I think for too long, as I said before, yes, we spend millions on these reports that end up just on someone's hard drive and no one opens the file. And then we'll wait another, 10 years before, sadly, what happened to Azim comes out, and, he laid his soul on the table and stuff that's happened to him, where he lost his career and, various things. To then think, oh, we've got to do something now. We're in knee-jerk reactions. Oh, we'll do this, and, we'll open this department and that department. But my honest belief is, I don't think, and this is where I kind of agree with Mikey to some degree, the game isn't the problem. The game works. I'm sat here as the last living English British Test cricketer, right? British born. The game works. I came through the county system from age 10 to 38 when I left. It works. The problem is, it has got very stuck in its ways. It's happy to get the same kids from the same areas, from the same backgrounds all the time. It's not prepared to go and spread its wings and go and find talent in the rawest parts or the rawest boroughs in a city. Right? It's always been kind of your private school. There's certain private schools that they'll go and they know they can go and get those players. They trust those kids that they're not going to show them up and they're not going to embarrass them. They'll be well groomed. They'll have proper coaching and all that stuff. Versus coming to Croydon, where I'm from. And the one man that did, God rest his soul, Brian Ruby, took a punt and decided to invite this little kid down to Guildford. Never heard of Guildford. Right? And we turned up, and that basically gave me an opportunity that I wouldn't have got anywhere else. On another day, another coach would have come down and it would have been a bit of a ball ache for them to come down and go, all right, let's get through this for 2 hours. Yeah, all right, see you later, kids. I'm off. But for one reason or another, Brian saw me and he thought, I'm going to give this kid a chance. There needs to be more of that. That you're talking since 1990.